tired, so I believe you are going through your revision phase, right? And guys, it's really stressful time period. So I'm here to discuss few bits that can help you to score good marks in your, at least in your AAA paper, right? Myself, Edison Stanley, and I'm tutored with Phoenix Institute for Financial Training, currently dealing with audit and assurance, advanced audit and assurance, and taxation, right? So without further ado, let's quickly go through this paper, right? Advanced audit and assurance. What are the things you should consider before taking up this paper, right? Or before taking up the exam, right? So it is a remote proctored exam. Make sure you know the tips and tricks with word processor, right? It's not a numbery paper, so you need not think about much about this spreadsheet. Of course, few bits like analytical procedure, you can do it using your spreadsheet, but remaining bits, make sure you do have good typing skills, right? Now it's a 3 hour 15 minutes exam. Make sure you do have a good kind of time management skills. Make sure you do have this move on strategy as well. Now, if you look at the marking pattern, it is a 100-mark exam. Your first question, it's 50 marks. Second and third question, 25 marks each. Now, the examiner himself told that or discussed that nearly 30 to 40% of your AAA paper can come up from accounting standards. So, many accounting standards are tested over here. Make sure you have enough accounting knowledge. Make sure you are using the knowledge from your SBR onto this paper. Right. Now, moving on, let's discuss various questions or various elements that can be tested as a part of your AAA paper. Right. Question 1, it's a 50-mark question, and main elements include audit risk, sure question, 100% probable, guys, 100% sure question. It weighs around, let's say, 20 marks, right? It can range from 16 to 24, but let's say take an average of 20 marks. And guys, this percentage and these marks are purely my assumptions, my numbers. There is no official confirmation on this. But anyhow, based on my previous experience, based on my studies on past exam papers, these are likely to come up in your exam, right? Now, if you think about business risk, it is kind of probable 50% that it can come in your exam, right? And if it comes, it weighs around 8 marks as well. Now, think about ethics kind of probable 75%, and nearly 10 marks can come up from this particular question, right? Substantive procedure kind of again probable 75%, 8 marks. And there could be some random theory stuff, right? You have to go through all of your syllabus. Any kind of topic can be tested by the examiner, right? And now let's look into each of these elements. Audit risk. See, most probably they will test a kind of accounting standard, right? Of course, there you can write about detection risk if it's a new client, something like that. But most of your the major proportion comes from accounting standards. So, make sure you know enough and more accounting standards. Let's say provision, let's say revenue, let's say lease, foreign exchange. These are very well tested as a part of your audit risk. Make sure you write material if it relates to some accounting standard, and if you have some amounts over there. After that, please briefly explain the accounting standard. At last, provide the risk factor. That means what is the impact on your financial statement, right? Moving on to the next one, business risk. It is some impact on your profitability. That means clients' profitability, their liquidity, let's say their goodwill, some sort of non-compliance. So something that is not good for your client's business, right? Moving on to ethics, the most common type of question is kind of provide ethical, professional, and quality issues along with recommended action. So you can write ethical issues like management, integrity, self-interest, self-review, advocacy, family attitude, right? Along with that, you can provide some other issues if you find within that scenario. Let's say poor review, or let's say non-compliance. All these can be explained as a part of professional quality and ethical issues, right? And you can also provide the recommendations. With regards to ethics, make sure you are explaining the ethical issue, right? Just mentioning intimidation threat, just mentioning self-interest threat won't give you any expected marks, right? You have to make sure you are providing the explanation along with that, right? So if it's a kind of self-interest threat, let's say, based on any fees, you have to explain the issue. It can lead to some sort of financial interest to the auditor, which might influence him to create some sort of manipulation or accepting some sort of manipulations within financial statements. So whenever you write that threat, make sure you're explaining it as well. Moving on to substantive procedure, make sure you follow the pattern, that is verb plus subject plus why, right? Now moving on to any random theory can also come from. this particular question, right? Moving on to your second question, audit report will be tested as a part of your second question, and most probably they will ask you to explain the impact on audit opinion or audit report, right? So make sure you know the various kinds of audit opinion, let's say qualified except for adverse opinion, disclaimer of opinion, or let's say unmodified opinion. And you should also know the situations under which you are providing these kind of opinions, right? You should also know about various modifications on report, other modifications on report, let's say EOM, or let's say material inconsistency, material uncertainty. All these things could be tested as a part of your final exam, right? Moving on to another bit, that is matters to be considered. It's a kind of question that used to come up as a part of your section B, second question, right? So they will be providing some sort of accounting standards, some accounting treatment done by management. Based on that, you have to explain whether there are some issues, whether there are any kind of impact on financial statement. If there is an amount, you can calculate materiality. All these things can be explained over there. Along with that, examiner can also ask evidence or substantive procedures. Now, there could be some question like sufficiency and appropriateness. Yeah, so also the examiner will provide you some sort of evidence that is being collected by the auditor over there. You have to tell whether that is sufficient or appropriate, right? And some other bits can also be asked within your section B, second question, right? Moving on to your last and final question. See, last and final question, examiner can ask from any part of your syllabus. It's a random question. So most probably, or let's say 75%, or let's say 70% of these times, examiner used to ask about some sort of other assurance. I hope you know what is other assurance and what all are the things that can be included under other assurance. There is PFI, review of PFI, review of KPI, then many things can be clubbed under other assurance, right? So I hope you know those bits. So most probably the examiner can ask examination procedure or additional information that you are supposed to collect, right? And some pure theory bits can also be asked along with that particular other assurance, right? Now, again, some sort of random stuffs can be discussed or required as a part of your section B, third question, right? Okay, now let's look into the key to success. Of course, it's really time pressured exam. You should have good enough time management to complete all the requirement, right? So you can have a 1 minute per mark strategy, or else you can set your own customized plan, right? As a student, see, for me, the first question, your first question, which was 50 mark, it takes me a lot of time, right? So the second and third one, it won't be taking much time for me. See, of course, you might have gone through any of your question papers. The first one, it is a bit lengthy. Second and third one, not that lengthy, right? So I used to have a plan where there will be 1.85 minute per mark for my first question, and for your second question, I consider 1.75. Second and third question, my mark is allocated as 1.75 minute per mark. So you can set your own customized plan just like that based on your practice. You should do many mock exams, right? So that is the next key to success, right? Make sure you do mock exam under real-time situations, under real-time scenarios, right? That means 3 hours 15 minutes itself, and make sure you evaluate that as well. You can do past exam papers, and guys, type and learn, right? It is a remote proctored exam. You have to complete this exam within your laptop or computer, right? So don't write and learn. Now onwards, don't write and learn. Don't read and learn. Please type and learn, right? Now, with regards to time management, please make sure you do have this move on strategy. It is not important, guys, to complete the, to provide a perfect answer, 100% perfect. If you are out of time, please make sure you have this move on strategy. Move on to the next question. Collect simple, easy marks, right? So these are considered to the key to success for your AAA paper, right? Okay, so at last, please be confident during your exam. See, sometimes there could be something that you might not have seen. Yes, it can come up in your exam, but let us have this move on strategy. Let us collect the easy marks from our next question, right? So what all things that you know, please write it over there or please type it over there. Then move on. Please use this move on strategy. Please collect these easy marks. If you are able to touch each and every requirement and give a kind of fair answers, not the complete answer, but kind of fair answer for your own requirement, there is a high chance or high percentage that you will clear this exam, right? So all the best for your exam. If you got any kind of concerns or doubts, please contact me or you can contact Phoenix team. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you very much.